Okay, my friends, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make a privacy fence out of pole bean trellis. So you're getting shade and privacy. Also, it's edible. You're growing food. So here, I do it on the north end of the property so that it gets full sun and it doesn't shade anything out. And that's where I wanted the privacy fence. So mine is about 30 feet wide, but you can do it on much shorter or much longer. It could be a couple 100 feet long or whatever you want it to be. Now make sure that you plant the pole bean varieties, okay? This is not going to work with bush beans. Now you can do green beans, but it's going to be a little bit hard to get the ones up top without a ladder. But this is ideal for dry beans, beans that you will let grow all season, and then they will die about October, and you will have loads of beans, dried beans for storage over the winter. Okay, here in this yard we are facing north right now, and you see the houses behind us. We want to block those out, and we also want a trellis for our beans. So we're going to go right along the fence line, and we're going to create a small bed just by placing a log or some 2x4s or whatever it is, and then place some horse manure or cow manure or compost or whatever you got. Place it in the little trench because that's where we're going to plant the beans. So next step is to acquire however many T-posts you're going to need for your size of project. I needed 3, so acquire 3 T-posts, pound them 1.5 feet into the ground. Make sure they're nice and deep into the ground. Then you acquire an 1.5 inch diameter PVC that is 10 feet long. That's how they sell it at like Lowe's or Home Depot. They sell it in 10-foot sections. Get 3 of those, or however many you need, and at the top, drill a small hole that you can place paracord through. Now this has to be a strong kind of cord. Paracord, you can look that up, or maybe I'll put a link in the description to some paracord. You will just drill a hole 1 or 2 inches from the top and run the paracord through the top of each post. And then you simply slide the PVC over each of the T-posts. Now we have all 3 pillars up, we have the PVC placed over the T-post, and we have the line strung through the top of all 3 of them. Now we go to the far end of one of them, and we are going to tie a stopper knot. Just tie a big knot that won't come loose at the end of one of them. That's going to keep the line from slipping through. Then you will go to the opposite side and pull the line taut. Now you're not pulling it so tight that it's bowing in the PVC. You just want it to be so that there's not any slack in the line. And then tie a very secure knot so that the rope is not going to slip either way. Okay, now that you know the spacing of the rope up top because the knots are secure, remove all 3 of the posts and lay them gently on the ground so that you can access the rope that is on the top. Okay, now acquire some biodegradable natural fiber twine such as this baling twine, and since our PVC lengths are 10 feet, make the twine 12 feet so it gives you plenty of room to secure it to the paracord up top. And then you go along the paracord up top, and every 10 inches to a foot, tie very securely a 12-foot length of the baling twine. This is what the pole beans are going to actually grow up. So tie it a number of times, make sure that the knot is tight. Now once you have secured all the pieces of twine along the top piece of paracord, go to both of the far outside pieces of the PVC, and at the very top attach a separate piece of the paracord. And you want to make sure that these are tight because you're going to be putting tension on these after we place the whole thing back up. So wrap it a couple times around and tie it tight. Once both of the outside pieces of PVC have a separate section of paracord attached to the top of them, and all of the twine is attached to the paracord that runs along the top, then, using some assistance if needed, replace all the PVC back, slide it on top of the T-posts. Once the T-posts are back in place, then you can gently separate all the strings so that they are free of tangles. Then fasten a piece of twine or paracord about 8 inches above the ground, running the length of all of the pieces of PVC. Now you will go through and secure each of the strings to the string that is running parallel to the ground. Now get these knots very tight, but don't pull them too tight because otherwise you'll kind of warp the whole thing. Just make sure that there's not a lot of slack and then tie the knot tight. Now once all of the vertical twine is tied, then go to the 2 pieces of paracord at the far ends and pull those nice and taut. That is going to remove any of the slack from the top cord and make the whole thing pretty tight. Now what you're going to have after this is a nice section of trellising that you can barely see the ropes or anything, but when the beans grow up it, it's going to completely shade the whole place out. And I will show you here what last year looked like. And you see by July 1st, these had already completely covered the trellis. And you can plant green beans or dry beans, whichever you like. You can pick them and then towards the end of the year, just let them grow and let the vines die, and you'll have a whole wall of dried beans for storage over the winter. Okay, my friends, so that's pretty much it. I hope you gained something from the video. If you did, give the video a thumbs up and share it with anyone that you think can benefit from this knowledge.